My name is Ben Knowles from East Coast Yacht Sales, and this weekend is actually a really fun weekend. My good friend Josh is getting married in Edgartown, so I'm actually taking the boat down there. I'm up in Maine right now. My wife is down in Woods Hole. We dropped our daughter off down there. My in-laws are graciously taking care of our daughter for this weekend. So this should be a really fun weekend. I thought I'd bring you guys along just so you can see a little bit of the delivery and what it's like running a boat long distances. So please take a look, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me using the information below this video. All right, so powering out of the harbor here. I just really enjoy these longer runs on Axopars. They're really easy, and it's just always a fun adventure. You never really know what you're going to be facing weather-wise. I certainly have done my due diligence, and I believe we're going to have pretty good weather. Only variability is we could definitely get some fog this morning, which was new in the forecast, but the apps that I really like to use are Windy. The Windy apps give you a lot of different options as far as various models for wind and wave data, so you can see a lot in one space. I also like going to passageweather.com, which also I think gives pretty good weather information. But weather is obviously always a big variable, and certainly adds a little interest to the trip. But I'm full of fuel right now, and I've reset my seasonal fuel use so I can really see how much fuel I've burned until the next fuel up. I'm headed to first the Cape Cod Canal. It's about 125 nautical miles from here to the Cape Cod Canal. I'll get some fuel there, and then from there I'm headed to Woods Hole to pick up my wife to then get to Edgartown. So let's throttle up here and get moving. Very glassy here this morning. Shouldn't have too much breeze this trip. Sunday, running home, may get a little bit more windy, but we'll see. What I'm actually going to do here is turn on my diesel heater. It's about 5:30. Yeah, a little before 5:30 here on a Friday morning. So I'm about 10 miles in. As soon as I got outside of the mouth of the New Meadows River in Harpswell, it did get pretty foggy. It's not terrible, but it is. I'm doing 26 knots just to keep a safer speed. So I have decent reaction time between if I see a boat and making a change on the wheel. I do have a radar. It's really nice having a radar. At this speed, I feel really comfortable. As you can see, it's dead calm from a wind perspective. The sea state is still coming down from super windy conditions. There was a small craft advisory yesterday. Oh, there's a porpoise right there. Yeah, it's nice having the security of a radar, and with the dual screens here, what I like to set up is I have a radar overlay on my GPS plotter here, and then I have my dedicated radar on this screen. The reason why I like that is because I just find with the radar overlay, sometimes I can miss a small target where against a black screen, I can pick up a target a little bit more easily. So that's why I like the dual screen setup. And another nice thing with the Axopar is, it is like, it's like 55 degrees right now and foggy. So I just can imagine what it might be like outside the boat right now. Also with the diesel heater, a normal cabin without heat, you would definitely have moisture on the windows, because I'm warming up the cabin with my body heat. And oh, the fog just lifted a bit. Oh, that's nice. But it's cold and dewy outside and warm in here through my body heat. So the diesel heater is really nice because it's not just heat coming out of the system. It's very, very dry, so it helps prevent from having my windows get all fogged up. So that's another big benefit for the diesel heater on these. But yeah, it's I probably have almost a nautical mile of visibility right now, which is great. And only about 15 nautical miles in my trip, so I have a little ways to go for sure, but I'll check in a minute. So Gloucester's about 20 nautical miles just off my beam here. I've been running for about 2.5 hours now, and let's see, I've done roughly about 70 nautical miles, and I've just got to say, doing these longer days, the smallest nuances on boats that are, any discomfort or anything like that really can come into play. And the noise level is really one of those things. And with having such a quiet boat, part of the reason why I left so early is so I can get to, there's no cell phone coverage in and around here. And as I get closer to P-Town, I typically can get cell phone coverage, so I can, it's Friday today, so I still want to get some work done. And I can make business phone calls and get stuff done while cruising on the Axopar because it's so quiet in here. And at the end of this day, I just won't be as tired because of that. Also because the Axopar is just a really great running boat, particularly offshore and in chop and heavy seas. You're just not getting jostled around as much. I'm sitting nice and low to the water. The higher up you are, the more of a pendulum effect that you get when running the boat. So that also has a big effect over time when running. And then how narrow the bow is on these Axopars. Every single wave, because it's narrow and with a really sharp entry forward, as you're cutting through the waves, it's not as much of an impact as it otherwise could be. If it was a much larger bow, the more your bow goes into the water, if you have a big bow up forward, it becomes more of an impact versus just slicing through it. So that over time has an accumulative effect on just how much exhaustion you may go through in a day. And also it's really comfortable. I've actually turned the heater down just a little bit. I'm on the lowest fan setting because it's not as foggy as it was, so it's warmed up a little bit, so it's really nice in the cabin. And as I'm talking to you, actually, I'm going to throttle back a little bit. We've just gotten into some heavier visibility, or lower visibility here with some fog. And my radar is showing that I have a target within a 1/4 mile from me, which I see him right over here. Yep, just barely. I don't know if you can see it on the camera here, but I've just got a fishing boat right over here. Radar, of course, also is a really nice safety feature. And another nice thing, just as this is a very real world situation here, the Axopars throughout their line have very little bow rise, and there aren't many boats, outboard powered boats, that can cruise, you know, under 25 knots well, particularly between 16 and 18 knots. It can be a really challenging cruising speed, because you're not quite on a plane, and you're at this kind of like mid-cruising speed, but sometimes you kind of want to go 18 knots. I'm doing 18 and a half knots right now, and with great visibility looking forward, because the fog has come in a little bit, and I never lose the sight lines. The boat's not straining too much. I don't feel like the engine's working too hard. I'm still getting 2 nautical miles per gallon of fuel at this speed, which many boats are just really getting bogged down, and it's just hard and uncomfortable to do this speed on a lot of boats. So it's just nice with the Axopar at all speeds. You're nice and fuel efficient. You've got great sight lines, and you feel like you can operate at any level depending on your visibility and speed. So that's another really great part about just owning an Axopar, is it's a very sensible hull design for many levels. So the fog's burned off, and now I am inside the protection of the arm of the cape right now. So the sea state is totally calmed down. It's basically flat with just some really far apart ocean rollers. So I've just cranked up the speed to about 32 knots, which is what I would consider for this boat. It's 4,500 RPMs or so, 4,550, 4,500, getting about 2 nautical miles per gallon, ranging between 1.999 and 2. But this is a great speed for the boat.
Got it.
And yeah, we're probably about 30 miles away from the mouth of the canal, and things are going great. So, but this is still, even at 32 knots in these sort of conditions, you know, you don't require a lot of input on the wheel. Just every once in a while, just doing a little bit of a correction. And this thing just feels like you're sitting on rails right now. We're just cruising along, 0 trim tabs, 0 engine lift. I mean, the boat just kind of runs itself. So it's really forgiving in that instance as well. All right, so we're entering the Cape Cod Canal. It's been pretty glassy the last 15 nautical miles or so, but and the visibility is fine. Just the very, very low clouds and haze and whatever this morning here. But coming in, gonna get some fuel. We burned about 58 gallons so far in this 125 nautical mile trip. So I'm going to top off with fuel and then continue on my way. So we'll come in here in a second and top off. This is a great spot to get fuel if you're coming out of the canal. It's just so close and convenient. All right, so I just fueled up with fuel. So I'm going to reset my seasonal usage, just because that's another way that I like to track how much fuel I've burned. So I got fuel used, reset season, boom. I'll go back to 0. All right, now gonna head to Woods Hole to go pick up Caroline and get to the Vineyard. So just powering out of the south side of the Cape Cod Canal. It's like a whole new day over here. Beautiful, sun's out. better visibility. Life is great. I actually also ended up meeting up with a friendly Axopar owner who is on his way to Newport from the Boston area, so that was really fun too. But yeah, crank along. Beautiful day, headed to Woods Hole, go pick up my lovely wife, and head to Edgartown. So, man, it's pretty fun. It's traveled so far in such a short period of time, and here we go. Here we are coming into Woods Hole. I think it's really fun carving through this this channel here. You do need to pay attention. It can be really dangerous. There's a lot of current that's coming through here, so you do need to exercise caution. But it is a great little throughway from Buzzards Bay to Vineyard Sound. This is one of the more active throughways that that do have accidents. Many times you'll see and some patrol boats or sea tow boats or whatnot hanging around here to help people. We'll look at these buoys here. You can see there's a fair amount of current right here. A little bit more up by these buoys that are leaned right over. Yeah, look at that green can right there. So you do need to pay attention. But we're going to go straight into the harbor, pick up Caroline, and continue on our way. Okay, we've picked up our very special guest, and now we're headed to Edgartown. So we just wrapped up the wedding weekend, and we're gonna head northbound. I'm gonna drop Caroline off at Woods Hole and continue my way north. We had pretty stellar dockage here this weekend because it was off season, so that was pretty fun. But we're gonna get underway and head back to Maine. So just dropped Caroline off at Woods Hole and grabbed some pie in the sky breakfast, one of my favorite breakfast spots in Woods Hole, and gonna be headed home now through the canal. Gonna grab some fuel, just top off before I head up to Maine, and so it should be a pretty good run. As the day goes on, the breeze is supposed to build. So I may swing by a little bit closer to Gloucester on the way north. We'll see what it's like as we get out there. And yeah, so just gonna throttle up here and rip through Woods Hole and head to the canal. So headed up the Cape Cod Canal now. Of course, we're headed against the current, so taking it a little bit slower, but this is always a great time to grab some food to fuel up before the run up to Maine. And breakfast does always seem to taste better while underway, so certainly a nice morning for it. Alright, just powering out of the north side of the canal. Right now it looks a little hazy, but yeah, we've got 125 nautical miles left. The whole trip from Edgartown to Harpswell is about 160 nautical miles. So this weekend I'll be doing about 320 nautical miles. But this is the last major leg of the trip. and we'll just throttle up now. Looks a little hazy. Up in Maine right now it's quite thick fog, but hopefully it'll burn off by the time I get north. Yeah, if I average 25 knots, which I should be able to do a little bit better than that. It's about 5 hours from here up to Harpswell. It's 8:43 right now, and we'll see how she goes. So, pretty glassy here. The breeze is coming from the southwest right now, so it would be really protected in here. But by the time we get out to Gloucester, we'll be fairly exposed, which is out around this area here. So, so I do think rather than going straight, I'll probably hug into Gloucester and then make my way up to Maine. So here we go. So it's 12:15 right now, and boy, has the weather been different than what I anticipated it being. It has been an absolutely spectacular ride. You know, the weather predicted there being in excess of 30 knot gusts outside of Gloucester area, and I had a plan to go close to Gloucester just to try to stay in the lead, but I didn't need to do any of that. The weatherman was certainly more conservative in his prediction today, and also I am a little bit ahead of schedule as well. So that the wind was supposed to pick up throughout the day, but I think I certainly was able to stay ahead of it. So, but it's been a great ride for sure. Saw some more whales again on the trip, and just really easy miles. So I just talked to my wife, and they just got to the house, and I'm about 45 minutes out. So I'm not too far behind them by coming by boat, and hopefully we can regroup, and I don't know, maybe we'll go boating this afternoon. So hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions for us, please do feel free to reach out. And if you like these videos and want to see more content, please click the subscribe button for more videos like this.